Welcome back to Real Estate Today. I'm Elliot Koolik, and we're back with Perla. And in this last segment, what I really want to get everyone to understand is what is the exact process, in a nutshell, to get a house to look like this?
Okay, well, the ideal thing is, if people are building their own home, is to come to their designer from the beginning stages.
Right.
When they're working in the beginning with the architect, get the designer involved, because architects, don't get me wrong, they're great, and they are building a shell, but the detailing of the next level, the lifestyle, you got to work your space planning and then detail around that.
Right, so you're really working as a team between the architect, the builder, and the designer.
That's the ideal thing.
Right,
That's
right.
the ideal thing.
And I know that sometimes builders and designers, sometimes you're making changes, and it sometimes get tense sometimes?
Not really, because if it's for the best of the client, why not?
Yeah, well, that's true.
I mean, that's my
true.
attitude. You know, I mean, we're here to serve the client, we're
Right.
here to help them, and to have a beautiful product. I mean, don't get me wrong, that would be the ultimate, but doesn't mean that we can't come into an already built home and make certain changes to enhance the architecture.
Now, okay, so now you have a client.
Yes.
They say, Perla, we want you, which is always great.
You can
Okay,
have me. No.
right. So now, how does it start?
Okay, well, first thing is listen and see what their needs are.
Okay.
Put together a design plan. We charge a retainer, a design fee, and with that, we take it from that moment up to the last little detail.
Okay, and you had said it usually takes 7 to 8 months to get it all kind of together.
Right. I mean, it could take less too if you need things rushed. That's not a problem, depending on how much of the job needs to be done.
And I would also imagine in a house of this size, it depends how the client, are they decision makers?
That has a lot to do with it.
Because whether they're driving around with you or your team, or like in my case, my wife and I, I'm very busy with real estate, and they showed me pictures. I said, some people have to sit on the couch. I just looked at the pictures, I picked what I wanted, and I was very happy.
That's why you're hiring a professional. It's just like what you said earlier. If you go to a doctor, you're going to listen to their advice. If you're hiring a professional, the best thing is listen to their advice. It's to your
And I think, and adding on to that, and what I really wanted to bring up was that people really need to understand that when you design a home, an interior design a home, it's really an investment. Clearly, there's going to be some depreciation on your furniture, but I would imagine, that's what I really want you to kind of like bring home for everybody.
It's definitely an investment if you put the money in the right place.
Right.
I mean, interior designers should know that. I mean, I know it from working with builders, from building a lot of spec homes, knowing what the market is, knowing what people really are looking for when they go buy a new house. I want to be able to suggest to my client where to put the money so that if you ever do resell, you're going to get your money plus.
Right. And you said, I was asking you what style of interior design that you created here, and we were talking about some of the new trends that were coming with the British colonial and more wood floors, and it's very interesting. You made a very comment that I wasn't going to bring up, but since we're talking about it, was that you felt that this type of style was timeless.
Yes, I really believe that, because when you're talking European, classical, Mediterranean, if you go to Europe and the Mediterranean, you have homes, you have castles and palaces that were built 300-400 years ago, and it still looks good. Okay, that is why it's called classic, because it will always be. Yes, you do have trends. You have the British colonial trend, you do have your Zen, and that's what it is, contemporary trends. But 3, 4, 5, 7 years from now, it's going to look a little more dated. So I recommend to keep it timeless. Yeah,
and it's interesting, a lot of times, look, we're all in a business, we're all selling ourselves. And I think it's part of selling is also being a very good listener. And if you listen to the builder that is hiring you, and maybe that's more on a business level, or you're listening to your client who's a customer who is doing it personally, but then you hear the husband saying, well, we could end up being relocated, or we might need to sell this second home, you might approach that project a little differently.
You got to take each circumstance differently. Right. The one thing that I do want to point out that what will dictate some of your decor inside will be the architecture. If you have a Key West style home, you really want to carry that somehow with the decor. If you have something that is towards Mediterranean, you carry that, but you can still personalize it with your own little touches and whatnot.
Well, it's a fine balance.
Exactly.
Everything is a balancing act, so I think that's fabulous. Perla, thank you so much for being on the show. Wow, she is just tremendous. I had not met Perla before we did the show, and I had read a lot of her literature, and I've heard about her book, and I know she has a syndicated column around the country, and I really didn't understand who we were going to meet today, to be honest with you. And she really, from doing the show with her and talking to her, I think executing interior design is not just about the furniture and not just about the window treatments. It's really listening, and I think her take on the spirituality and numerology, if that applies to her customers and they're receptive to it, really brings the whole thing together. And it's really a very, she has an unbelievable personality. I can clearly see why she's a success. And if you have any questions, feel free to call her. It's Perla Lici Design, and look for her book on Amazon and eBay. Thanks for watching this episode of Real Estate Today. I'm Elliot Koolik. We'll see you next time.